Okay, guys, so I'm going to talk to you about disliking yourself and sometimes even hating yourself. And first of all, I want you to know it's so common to go through periods of life, multiple times in your life, where you'll totally dislike yourself and who you are. And sometimes you'll just experience this once, hopefully just once, but that's not natural. We have ebbs and flows, and a lot of times it comes down to hormones and stuff like that. If you're a young woman, don't panic, because as you get older, your prefrontal cortex is going to grow, and with that grows logic and um, decision making abilities, and your ability to rationalize and that sort of stuff. And you'll learn to accept yourself, and you'll know yourself better, and you'll care about opinions of other people less and less as that grows larger and larger. And that's going to grow until you're about 25 years old. That's the high end of it, but about 25 years old. So um this video is going to be a little bit all over the place. This is why I have notes, because I've got a couple pages, but I'm going to try and make it short because they're point form, but I'm going to try not to be scattered and be organized here. So first of all, I'm going to start off with: the world is set up to make you hate yourself and make you dislike yourself. If you go on Instagram, if you go on any social media, everybody looks the same. Everybody has the same sort of look and appearance and persona, and they all have the same hobbies and the same likes and the same routines and the same everything. And if you don't really truly and authentically fit into that, you all of a sudden feel like you're not good enough. You don't fit in. You're not like a girl should be, or and that sort of thing. But that's not true, because it's our uniqueness and our authenticity that makes us special and makes us beautiful, wonderful people. And as you get older and as your prefrontal cortex grows, you'll recognize that more and more. Hopefully. Some people don't, and they struggle with it. And I'm going to get into what you can do about it, because I'm going to start off with the reasons why I feel a lot of people really struggle with disliking themselves. And then I'm going to give you some really solid, hardcore tips on what you can do to get over this, okay? And I'm also going to share really personal experience with you. And hopefully my experience gives you some insight and helps a little bit. So first of all, sexuality, okay? So on Instagram, all the reels on Instagram right now, like everything I see popping up is like alpha male haters about women who have any sort of body count or who have had sex with other men, saying they're not appropriate to be wives, they're not appropriate to be good partners. And the worst part is now women are carrying this alpha male characteristic into their social media personas, okay? So it's not even alpha female, it's an alpha male perspective, which is so odd. It's like this hyper femininity about all of these topics. And femininity is excellent, and female and male energy is something I've learned about years ago. And you have every male and female, it's not about gender, it's about energies, and you have to have both of them to be balanced. Men and women, you need both to be balanced. But men and women, yeah, sorry, they have both, but women are starting to carry more of this, like there's no there's no empathy or understanding about what women actually experience and go through. It seems I see a lot of posts that are negative about sexual culture when it comes to women. Okay, so first of all, I want to tell you, so they make it sound like if you have any sort of sexual history, what you did in the past, it's made you less of a person, you're less of a good partner, you're just less, okay? But I want you to remember, and always remember this, girls, that everything you did, it's gone. First of all, whatever you've done in the past is over. It's gone. It doesn't even count. Just tell yourself that every day, and eventually your brain will rewire itself and it'll be gone. But you don't need to do that, because you need to accept the things you've done and the decisions you've made, because everything you've done, you've never decided, well, I'm going to make a bad decision today. You always have made the best decisions with the knowledge that you've had and with all the information that you had at the time. Everyone always does their best and they make the best decisions they can. And even if they're a mistake, they've done the best with what they've got at the time. And every mistake, every good thing you've ever done, all of these things combined is what makes you who you are. And even if you dislike who you are today, you're going to get through this, and how you feel about yourself next week or next year or the year after has nothing to do with how you feel about yourself today. You could feel on top of the world today, and next week you could hate yourself. Or you could feel like you hate yourself today and wake up tomorrow and feel like $1,000,000, like you've got everything going for you. And a lot of times this is hormones and they change in your brain, they flex. But sometimes it's just the way our brains work, the way we have our cognitive function, and the way we process information and how we're processing it on a particular day, and whether our emotions are more in control or our logic is more in control. And sometimes they take turns, and that's where we need to be mindful of always keeping our logic front and foremost, and accept your emotions and recognize them and acknowledge them, but let logic be the forerunner. And sometimes you got to write stuff down and make lists and put shit in order to be able to see through the emotions and to see the logic. And we'll get into that in my tips section, in how you can do this and how that's helpful. Now, I'm not saying that this hookup culture is a great way to live. It's not. I'm telling you, every time you sleep with somebody, every time you have a non-relationship hookup, you give away a piece of yourself, you give away a bit of yourself. And you know what? You'll get over it. You're going to be fine if that's what you've done. It is what it is, and it's gone, and it's made you part of who you are, and you'll love who you are one day, even if you don't today. But it's not a goal. Like, try not to make that a goal, because it's just, you're too good for it. You're too good to your body, your mind, your soul is too good to be just handing it out. And the other thing is, especially particularly for women and the way our brains work, is that when we are sexually involved with someone, we become attached very quickly. Men don't. Men take longer to attach, but they take longer to detach as well. And you'll notice that men take longer to fall in love, but it takes them a hell of a lot longer to get over a woman as well. Whereas women can fall in love like that because we attach quickly, but we can also move on just like that as well. You'll feel like the world is ending and like you can't go on without somebody, and that'll go on for a little while, and then one day you'll wake up and you'll be like, what the hell was I thinking? I'm fine. I'm over it. I'm done. And you're totally, truly done with it, and it won't come back. So if you're in that state, don't worry, because it'll pass. Okay? So self-hate stems from a lack of self-acceptance, right? You feel like you're not good enough, you can't compare, you're unworthy, and you feel like it's the can't compare that really upsets me the most, because every comparison you're seeing, I believe, is through social construct and social presentation. Through a lot of it is social media, and all you're seeing is the highlights and the best parts of people's lives. And make no mistakes, nobody's perfect. We're all on this planet for the first time, depending on what your belief system is, but technically we are, even if you believe that we've been reincarnated or whatever, this existence, we are here for the first time. And I don't think any belief system would not acknowledge that for this existence, it's our first time. We're all learning as we go. We're making mistakes, and that is part of the process of living and the process of life. If you didn't ever make any mistakes, you wouldn't truly be living, because it would mean you never took any chances. You never made yourself uncomfortable. You never made a decision. You were frozen. You just stood still. And that's not living. That's just standing still. Okay? That's just letting life happen to you instead of you living it. And you don't want life to happen to you. You want to live it. There's a difference. And comparing our lives is so damaging. It never is as it seems, other people's lives, no matter what it looks like on Instagram. Everyone has problems. Sometimes the problems are so enormous you wouldn't even imagine, and they go above and beyond to highlight only the very best, because they're overcompensating for the huge, enormous problems they're managing. So keep that in mind. So let's get on to the tips the tip section here on what you can do about this. So first of all, I want you to reflect on this. And this isn't my ideology. This is sort of a historical ideology, and it's comparing a rose to a lily. Both are uniquely beautiful, but neither look anything alike, right? But everybody would both, nobody would deny that each one is beautiful, and they have a beautiful scent and they have a beautiful appearance about them, even though they're very, very different looking. They look nothing alike, right? So the same is to be said about people and women. Like, you don't all have to look alike to be beautiful, and this standard of beauty where everybody looks exactly the same is so damaging, because it's not valuing that we can be completely different, and that everyone finds different things beautiful and different characteristics beautiful in women and in men. And if you think about it, if you think about all the guys you've ever been attracted to or had a crush on, I would bet you couldn't rate them from hottest to not as hot, because you're attracted to them all for different reasons. And I would bet I'd go so far as to bet that they don't even look alike. And you were attracted to them, and you had a crush on them, or you liked them, or whatever it was. But they didn't have to be alike. They were very different, right? So think of it that way. And women are the same. So especially young women, your natural beauty can never be diminished. Remember this. Like, it can never be. Especially in a world where women are all looking identical, natural beauty shines through, and it stands out, and it's unique. And if you feel insecure about something, and sorry, I've got animals entering my room, criminals. Anyways, if you feel insecure about something, for instance, I have freckles and I am insecure about them, and I cover them up with foundation. I've had a lot of guys comment saying, wear less makeup on your face, you look more attractive without it. My freckles are showing, and I made a video last week where I went without any makeup on my face just to prove a point about how unattractive it looks when my freckles are sticking out. And I had tons of guys comment saying, you look so cute, the freckles are cute, I love them. And I didn't expect that. I know better logically, but that's not how I felt. So, and that put it into perspective a little bit for me, okay? The other thing is, if this is an ongoing theme in your life and you're not growing out of it, you're not getting over it, really consider getting therapy. It impacts your ability to live in this world and to be confident in yourself and to accept yourself for everything that you are, the good and bad, and really appreciate that it's all those things combined that make you beautiful and unique. Because if everybody lived the same exact life, there would be no uniqueness in our lives either, or in our personalities, in our characteristics, in our talents, in our abilities, in our strengths, and our weaknesses. We would all be the same. In our sense of humor, there would be no variance, and that would be so goddamn boring. Like, it would be fucking boring. No one would like that. So I'm gonna share something with you now. So when it comes to therapy, you think, so I'll tell you, I went through a horrific, I'm not even going to get into it, traumatic experience a few years back. And the reason I'm not going to get into it, I would get into it and I'd tell you exactly what it was, but it would be an enormous trigger for a lot of people, and it would be something you can't unhear, and it would also out other people that were involved. And for confidentiality purposes, I don't have the right to do that. It's not my place. It would be really disrespectful. So I'm going to skip over that, but tell you I went through an enormous trauma, and I was severely depressed over it. It took a few weeks to set in, and then my depression got to the point where I wasn't getting out of bed. I didn't want to get dressed. I didn't want to shower. I had no interest in eating. It was getting so significant. I was barely living, and I never felt suicidal. I didn't want to die. I just didn't really want to live. I didn't care to engage and live. I had no interest in anything, period. And it was the worst time in my life trying to deal with that. And I'll be honest with you, I know everyone doesn't believe in medication, but antidepressants and therapy combined saved my life. Like, they saved my life, because I don't know where I'd be now. I don't know how long I could have gone on like that. But that's my personal experience. You don't need to be in a deep, dark depression and to go through that and to need and to benefit from therapy. Therapy will help you feel better about yourself, and it'll help you know yourself. Okay? It'll help you take control over what your feelings are. It'll help you put logic over your emotions and put your feelings and your negative feelings about yourself into perspective. And it helps you really just get to know your strengths, your weaknesses, and that way you can organize your life in a way that works for you based on your strengths and your weaknesses. And therapy can do all that. And I'm going to talk about BetterHelp again, because I do in a lot of my videos, because BetterHelp, not only if you can't afford it, because counseling and therapy is expensive, they do have subsidy, and they have payment arrangements and payment plans, and you can engage in that. And there's also, you can text, you can video chat, you can call your therapist anytime. You can change therapists multiple times without going back to the doctor and getting a new referral. You can do all these things through BetterHelp, and so it makes it super convenient. If you don't feel comfortable showing your face, you can just do it via text message. If you wake up in the night and you're feeling really upset, or you're having a hard time, you're struggling, you can reach out to your therapist and you're going to get a response. So you don't have to wait till like 5 days from now, when your next appointment is, to have your 30 minutes. So BetterHelp is a really good way to go. Look into it if you're ever considering therapy. So, and this is where my quote from my little short came from, that being broken isn't the worst thing in the world, because it gives you the opportunity to put yourself back together piece by piece by piece, and in a stronger, healthier way than you ever were before you were broken in the first place. You get to rebuild yourself the way you want to be rebuilt. So if you feel like you're broken, don't give up. Don't think you're lost and it's going to be this way forever, because this is a gift, an opportunity to rebuild, and to rebuild yourself into the structure of the person you want to be. So keep that in mind if you're in a deep and dark place right now, and if you really dislike yourself or your life, really think about that. So if you don't want to be a carbon copy of everybody else. You don't want to look exactly like everybody on Instagram, first of all. So stop comparing yourself. You don't want to lose yourself. You'll end up being a shadow of what everybody else is if you achieve that. If you actually achieve normality and what is presented as normal, which isn't really the truth and isn't normal, like I discussed already, you'll be a shadow of what everybody else is. You're not going to be you, and you're not going to exude your full potential and your full like embodiment of who you are as a person and a human being, looks wise and personality wise and intellectually. You won't be yourself. You'll be a shadow and a reflection of what everybody else is, and that is so boring, and it's so unauthentic, and it's so like just less than everything you're meant to be. And you're meant to be so much and so different, and that's why we're put on this earth so differently and so uniquely. If we were all meant to be the same, we'd be born looking the same, and we're not. We're all different, right? So we all have different talents. We're not meant to be copies of each other, and unfortunately that's what social media portrays, but that's not the way it's supposed to be, guys and girls. So don't get caught in it. And if you need to lie to yourself about loving yourself, about loving your looks, lie to yourself. Do it every day. Every single time you pass a mirror, say, I'm so beautiful. I love my nose, or I've got the greatest lips, or I've got the best hair. And like, lie to yourself and do it every single time you pass a mirror. And just like I talked about in my last video about neuroplasticity, your brain will eventually rewire itself, and it will cognitively be restructured, and you will start to believe it, and you will start to recognize it and know it, that you are beautiful and that you love yourself and you love who you are. But you have to be consistent. You have to do it every opportunity you get. And even if you don't feel like it, you feel like it's the most untrue thing in the world, say it and do it. I promise you, it's going to take a bit of time, but your brain will rewire. It'll create new pathways and new neurological pathways, and you will believe it. It will work. If you believe it, you can achieve it. And that's because of neuroplasticity. So I'm telling you, 100%. So try it out, guys. That is a huge benefit. And we're getting to the end here. Make lists about the things you like about yourself. Put it down on paper. Even if you hate 100 things about yourself and you only like 2 things, make that list. And after you write down those 2 things, write how those 2 things benefit you and what you can do with those 2 things that you like about yourself, what they give you that other people don't have, how they benefit you in ways that other people aren't benefited from those 2 things that you like about yourself. Even if you have 100 things that you don't, those 2 things will become clear how important they are. And once you start thinking about how they help you and what they do for you, you'll start to come up with other things you like about yourself. It'll start to flow and you'll get into the routine of it. Do it regularly. Do it every day. And don't get into like big, long journal entries. That's daunting. And when you really feel down and you're in the dumps, that's a hard thing to accomplish and a hard thing to stick to. But honestly, if you just take a little bit of time, just 2 or 3 minutes, schedule it. Say, I'm going to take 3 minutes and write down a few things and set your watch to it. 3 minutes. Give it 3 minutes. And if you do that regularly, your list will grow. It'll start growing. And forgive yourself. Be compassionate toward yourself the way you would be towards other people. Forgive anything you've done that you're not proud of, that you feel guilty about. And don't forget, guilt can never change the past. Only your perception can change the past. And what you need and your logic is to keep in mind that no matter what you did, again, good or bad, makes you who you are. And everything you are is who you're meant to be. You're meant to go through this process, through the ups and downs, to become the person that you're going to develop and grow into. So even if it takes a whole lifetime, which it will, because nobody is the same at 20 as they were when they were 15. No one's the same at 25 as they were at 20. And the list goes on and on. And at 40, you're not going to be the same person you were at 35. We evolve, we grow, we learn, and we process information differently. And the way our brain works changes. New pathways build. Neuroplasticity works its magic, and things change. We are never the same person as we were 5 years ago. So you're gonna be a completely different person. So whatever's happened in the past, that's gone. You're not that person anymore. So get over it, honestly. And eliminate people in your life that don't accept you. If you have a friend that you're trying to always do things for because you need their approval or you want them to like you, if they make the choice that they don't like you because of something you've done and they give you the cold shoulder or they're a little like condescending or rude about it, get rid of that friend. You don't need that attitude in your life. You don't need them. Distance yourself. You'll like yourself more. That's all I have to say on that. Stop setting unrealistic expectations and goals. You will let yourself down. Make your goals and your expectations of yourself small and achievable. That way you will continuously be able to achieve these goals, and that is how you build trust in yourself. And if you're constantly not checking off everything on your to-do list, you won't trust yourself and you'll feel like you're making a wish list. It won't feel like your goals list and your to-do list, and it won't feel achievable. Make things achievable. You will begin to trust yourself when you consistently achieve all these small little goals or check off these tasks that you're building for yourself, which are goals. Even if it's to do all your laundry today, that's a goal. And when you get it all done, you'll trust yourself a little bit more. And building trust in yourself is how you build confidence. And confidence turns into self-love and loving yourself. Okay? And you'll trust yourself more than you ever have before, and the confidence will just grow and grow. And self-love isn't about how many face masks you can do or how many bubble baths you take or how many like self-love days you take where you just drink like green juice and like do yoga and like hit the gym and like do a face mask and deep condition your hair. That's not self-love. That's taking care of your body. But that's not self-love. Self-love is accepting yourself, having confidence in yourself, accepting the good and the bad, knowing that each has its own place and its own value, and it all teaches you something that you're meant to learn. These are things that you're meant to learn, and that's what self-love is. And what I'm going to leave you with is I want you to think of somebody that you love and think of how you would like them to be treated and how you would want them to be perceived in the world and treated. And that's how you should treat yourself, the way you would want someone you love to be treated. And that I shall leave you with. So young women, old women, middle-aged women, all women alike. I hope everybody listens to this video. I hope you watch till the end. And don't forget, if you do enjoy these types of videos, subscribe to my channel. I've got lots of them coming. I've got lots of great ideas for videos to come. And I'm probably going to make a few more today, actually, because it's Video Sunday and I'm not working. I worked all day yesterday, so my Saturday was kind of a write-off, but today is my day off, so I'm going to get some housework done and make a few videos and have fun, because that's what I like to do. So I hope everyone has a fabulous day, and don't forget, think of someone you love and how they should be treated and how you want them to be treated, and treat yourself no less than that. You deserve just as much. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Have a lovely day. See you soon.